Alright, here's what just happened in the Gulf, and why everyone from Washington to Doha is still holding their breath. On Monday night, Iran fired a barrage of missiles at the biggest US military base in the Middle East, Al Udeid, in Qatar. Now, this wasn't totally out of the blue. Iran says it was payback for American airstrikes on its nuclear facilities just 2 days earlier. The attack set off air raid sirens and panicked a lot of people in Doha, expats and locals alike, who saw flashes in the sky and heard loud booms as air defenses kicked in. There were numbers flying everywhere about how many missiles were launched: 6, 14, even 19. But here's the key point: all of them were intercepted. Nobody was killed or injured. And here's the wild part: it turns out Iran actually gave Qatar a heads up before the attack. The idea: minimize casualties, show muscle, but stop things from spiraling completely out of control. Even President Trump, who called the attack very weak, thanked Iran for the early warning. But Qatar wasn't thrilled, calling the strike a flagrant violation of its sovereignty. And both the US and UK had already told their citizens in Qatar to shelter in place just before the attack. On Tuesday, the tension dialed back at least a bit. President Trump announced a ceasefire between Israel and Iran was in effect. Israel said they'd agreed to the deal, and Iran signaled it would stop launching missiles if Israel held back too. Still, the whole episode shook up the Gulf's sense of security, especially for the huge expat community. For now, there's a fragile pause. But with this much firepower and mistrust in play, things could change in a split second. That's where we stand. More updates as this story develops.